Okay, this is Don Wedding, and here we are at the start of Predict 498, and this is January of 2021. And so we're going to get started here. I'm going to basically just do a lot of Q&A. I'll give you a very brief overview of the class itself, but it's a lot of, I've recorded some videos on the various things like the project and forming a team and et cetera, et cetera. I'll go into that in a few minutes. But before we get started, before we hit the record button, Chelsea asked a great question, and she said, what is the advice for the next, actually 9 weeks, Chelsea, because we start a week late for some reason this quarter, and you got 9 weeks instead of the usual 10. So it's going to be a little trickier, but you guys will be fine. But Chelsea was asking what should keep us grounded, or what should be the focus of this class. The trick with this class is it's designed to be a class that is trying to mirror what you will encounter in the real world. And by my saying that, what I'm really meaning is as close to the simulation of the real world as you can possibly get in a 9-week course, okay? So I'm trying to keep this where everything in this thing is something that I've encountered in one project or another throughout my career. What you really want to do here is do not focus. So here you go, Chelsea. I know I'm rambling already. So everybody wake up, because I'm about to tell you the secret of this class. The secret of this class is not to go out there and build the best model. So if you end up going out there on Kaggle and you get a data set from Kaggle and you start working on that and you are the best model, well, that's fine for Kaggle, but in a real world, the boss would rather have a pretty good model, a model maybe in the top 15%, but it's something that's easily understood, something that's easily explainable to the board of directors, something that's easily implemented into a database. Usability, explainability, understandability, and accuracy, you've got to balance them all off. So a black box that's using some deep learning neural network that might be accurate to 8 decimal places, and you could do it a little bit not as good, but use a decision tree. Take the decision tree. Also, you want to put stuff together that's going to explain what you're doing to a boss who's intelligent, but doesn't know the first thing about analytics. So you're going to have to explain this stuff in a way that's understandable to a boss. And you're going to have to not just say, oh, here's my results. You got to say, here's the results. This is why it makes sense. And here's how you're going to make money with this. And you're going to try to find lots and lots of value throughout the quarter. So it's not going to be just, I'm going to build a model as who's going to default. Come up with some strategy. Say, well, I've got a data set on loan defaults. Come up with a strategy. Well, we noticed that the people who live in, Cleveland tend to default more often. So maybe we should have, higher interest rates there, or maybe we should do this or that. Try to find ways to make money. And then make it so that your boss can take what you did and walk into a board of director meeting and explain what you did in a way that, because your boss won't understand what a area under the rock curve is, or a Gini coefficient. They won't know that, but if they can explain what you're doing, that's how you did your job. Chelsea, did I explain this good enough, or have I rambled?
No, absolutely. The reason I asked it is I know it's such an all-encompassing quarter. It's going to be covering every single piece, and I agree it's important to, when you're presenting models to management, to make sure they're effective and you're communicating what's going to drive impact, not the nitty-gritty behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And also, I know we start a week late in this class, but because I opened up the shell and I was giving you guys all sorts of stuff ahead of time, a lot of you, we've already got 2 teams that are formed. And as soon as the 3rd team forms, the 4th team automatically is formed, because we got 4 teams of 5. So believe it or not, I have never had 2 teams already formed at the end of week 1. So you guys, because of the way it was, by opened things up early and started, sending out emails, you guys are already ahead of the curve, even though you've got 1 week less. A lot of other quarters, students tend to, lollygag for a week or two. You guys don't have that. You guys have hit the ground running. So you may actually have a head start, believe it or not. Now, let's take a quick look at the class shell. Let me do a screen share here. And let's see what I can do. And okay, so you guys can see my mouse moving around, right? Anyone?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna draft somebody to keep an eye on the chat window for me. Okay. Eric Pierce? You look like a guy who your name popped up first, so I'm gonna make you the official helper today. Can you do that for me?
I'm your guy.
Okay, you look familiar. Did I have you in another class, Eric?
No, this is my first class with you. I'm excited. Hear great things. So,
well, I hope that they live up to your expectations. But okay, just keep an eye on the chat window. If anybody posts anything, that's great. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk real quickly through the class shell. Here is the syllabus for the class. I'll tell you a couple of things right here. This is my contact information right here. If you send me an email, send to both this and this. The reason why is that I'm not, I do consulting on the side, so I may not always have access to my Northwestern. This comes to my cell phone. I'll do my best to get back to you quickly. Here's my home office. This is my cell phone. If you have to call me, please do. I'm available 24/7. I've never had anybody call me at Sunday at 3 in the morning, and I'm trying to keep the streak alive. However, if you really want to, if you feel the need to, if it's important enough for you, then it's important for me. I can't not guarantee I'll answer at 3 in the morning because I sleep like a rock, but if you call and I answer, we're good. I think the worst I ever had was, I had a student with a medical emergency called me at Sunday at midnight one time, and we were fine. But again, try not to, but like I said, it's I'll answer. I'd prefer if you post questions to the discussion board because other people will get it. You can call me, you can send email, do whatever is your best form of communication. I'm going to run the course like a company, okay? And this is an all-encompassing corporation. In other words, if you find a data set out there that is not for profit or educational or this or one guy's doing something off of a Kaggle competition and somebody else has data from work, I can put on many hats and be what I have to be in order to allow you to work on the project that you want to work on. Okay, so the only goal here is I want you to build a good model that's explainable. Try lots, incidentally, one other thing, try lots of different models. So in other words, let's say you're going to do a model for, who's going to crash their car or something like this. Don't just do a logistic model. Try a lot of things. Try a logistic model, try a tree, try a random forest, try a whatever. Try a couple of things, because not that you're going to use it, but one of the things is you have to be proactive, that there's going to be people in a real world situation who don't want you to succeed. There's going to be another department that wants you to fail. And if you don't do a neural network and you've done like the world's best logistic regression model and you didn't do a neural network, there's going to be some jerk who's like, oh, well, these guys don't know what they're doing. They didn't do a neural network. So you have to head this off at the path. Try lots of different things. Be preventative, a prevent defense here. Also, when you're done, you got to explain it to me. Understand that that I'm the boss, so I understand the company, but I may not understand analytics. Even though I've done this for a lot of, in my day, I'm not going to second guess your approach. So if you try something and I wouldn't have done it that way, that's fine. I'm not here to second guess you. I'm here to play the part of the boss. And if the boss says, hey, that makes sense to me, then that's fine. But if, you know, if it makes no sense at all, then the boss is going to hammer you. Let's see what else. Here's the grading of the class. Again, let me go up here real fast before we go any further. I'm trying something new this quarter. I've done these sync sessions so much, no matter what I do, there's so much to talk about in a 1-hour sync that I can't cover everything. So instead, I did a video here about the syllabus. So I went through the syllabus, you know, and here's a screencast-o-matic video. And then I did something about the project itself. What is the project and what do you have to do for the project? How do you be successful? I walked through that. The class philosophy, you know, I mean, I want you to understand what I'm trying to do with the class. So this is what I'm going for in the class. I expect you guys to watch these things, and I'm here to just really give you a very brief overview and answer questions. Has anybody in the class not seen any of these yet? And don't be afraid to, you know, don't be honest. I'm not going to get mad. I'm just curious. I mean, how many people have seen it? How many people haven't? Give me a quick update here. And no wrong answer, folks. Maybe type something in the chat window. How about that? Eric, help me out. Is anybody typing anything? Does it look like people have watched the videos? What do you see?
It looks like people have seen it. Everyone's watched it. I've watched it. Nobody has saying they haven't so far. Okay.
And if you haven't, that's okay. I really recommend you do this. I'm trying to, let's see. This is a first for me. I'm trying it this way. So I want to make sure that I just cover real high level overviews. Has anybody in the class got a question right now before I go back to just walking through the class shell and everything? Eric, do you see any questions, or is it just sort of a...
No questions, but it looks like Raymond has lived the videos, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, Raymond is our TA. Raymond, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
We sure can.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, what's up? I'm here.
Raymond is our TA. He's been a TA of mine since 2013, okay? He's right now very high executive at Sprint Corporation. Now it is T-Mobile. They've purchased them. And, you know, Raymond just sort of hangs around here because he likes, you know, to have his hands in the academic world. He's finishing up his PhD and will probably someday teach here. Raymond, you've lived it. Talk to us. Give us your thoughts about this class and anything you want to say about this program or this project.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, guys? So yeah, I'm Raymond Andon. Like Don said, I'm a senior manager of risk modeling and data science at T-Mobile. Been there for like 4 years. Before that, I was at Experian, so like tons of modeling and credit history. But for this course, I mean, my recommendation is, you know, try to pick a real problem. You know, I mean, you know, 9 weeks is probably like a legitimate model build time in the real world, you know. So, you know, this class, I mean, Dr. Wedding gives you a lot of latitude to do whatever you want topic wise. So, you know, pick something that interests you, you know, something that'll push you. And I think it'll, you know, it'll turn out to be a better use of your time for sure. I don't know. I think that's kind of it. I think, you know, there's always like a lot of impressive projects too. So check out the old projects. It'll give you some ideas of kind of where the bar is set at, maybe give you some brainstorming ideas. But really, you know, it's all up to you. However much you put in is how much you'll get out of the class, without a doubt.
And one other thing is Raymond's here, and then there's some quarters where they really, you know, students, he's a resource. Okay. And one of the things I've always thought about is why do students don't take advantage of Raymond's expertise. I've had one quarter where a bunch of students were handing him their papers ahead of time and saying, Raymond, can you give us your thoughts? And it's interesting was ahead of time, Raymond was looking at stuff and realistically it was a disaster. And Raymond was like, this is bad. And here's why. And everything he said was right. I mean, he was right on the money. And these people were able to fix their stuff ahead of time and handed it to me. And it was a work of art. So use him as a sounding board. Also, Raymond has my complete confidence. If you ever need, like, something's going as disaster and you say, look, we need some kind of, decision from you, Don, or, can we have an extension or blah, blah, blah. If you can't get a hold of me, you get a hold of Raymond. Whatever Raymond says goes. Okay. So he's got my complete confidence. So use Raymond as a resource. Some quarters, nobody does anything with him. And I'm like, that's a waste, because he's got a lot of real world experience. He's not, he's a graduate of this program, but that was a long time ago, and he's been working in the real world in a lot of industries. So, he's a professional. This is, he's got a lot to offer here. Let's see. Let me just walk through here. Oh, here's one other thing. And I mentioned this in the videos, but I'm going to say it again. The way the class is designed, let me go back here, is, just like in a real world, if you hand something into me and it's a disaster, okay, I'm going to give you the grade you deserve for, let's say, the intermediate results, your initial results around week 6. Okay. You do this and it's a disaster and you get, let's say, a 0. Okay. That's kind of, students tend to find a 0 to be a little bit, unsettling. The good news is, in an academic setting, universities, you may as well just pick up your marbles and go home. In a corporate world, you can always say, I'll tell you what you did wrong. I'll say, this is not good, and here's why. If you fix it, you can get the points back. Okay. You can, this is like, you can, up until the last minute of this class, you can earn points back. Now, I'm not going to give you anything. I promise you, you're going to get the grade that you've earned, but you can always earn those points back. So, the other thing is, I also like it when students push themselves and try things. For example, I will strongly encourage and even twist your arm a little bit for you to try giving me an interactive dashboard and a cell phone app. Now, you've already heard cell phone app, and it just, put this bolt of fear through your body. You're like, I don't know how to do that. Well, guess what? None of the students ever know that. They go and they figure it out, and it turns out it's not all that difficult. And try that. Be the one who says, I'm going to do it. Some teams get that cell phone app working, some don't. But even if you don't get it working, if the rest of your project is pretty good, you say, hey, Mr. CEO, we couldn't get the cell phone app work. Here's what we tried. This is what we would recommend a future team can build off of our work. So in other words, find value, even in your failures, find value in it. Try stuff. Walk out of this class. Don't look at this class as a finish line to get your diploma. Look at it as one last chance to learn something that you didn't learn in the program, whether it's deep learning neural networks, whether maybe your Python skills aren't all that great. Maybe you want to learn how to do a cell phone app, maybe whatever. Push yourself in this class. Do not let anything, go. Let's see here. Let me just walk through the class shell. This is our syllabus. Student contacts. If your name is not in here, let me know and I'll put it in there. Introductions, team building. Ask the prof. If you have a question for me and you want to know, like, Don, how do you, what do you think the best way to do a cluster analysis is, or whatever? Post it here. If you got a question for Raymond, post it here. I won't go in here. This is just you and Raymond. So if you say, gosh, we think Don's a jerk, put it there. I won't know. Incidentally, you guys, please feel free to call me Don if you want. I answer to lots of things. But if you want to call me, Dr. Wedding or Professor Wedding, whatever makes you comfortable, I don't care. Ask the CEO. If you have a question that the CEO, I'll put on the CEO hat and I'll answer it here. Let's see, mobile phone clearinghouse. If you find something that other teams will can use, put it here. Oh, here's something else. In the real world, if in academia, if somebody gives you their homework and you copy it, that's called cheating. Okay. In the real world, if somebody says, here's my code that I was able to use the database, that's called being efficient. Okay. Now, you don't pass it off as your work, but just say, look, boss, Fred gave me his code. If you do that in this class, I'm going to give you bonus points. So let's say team A has a mobile phone app and it's working. And they say, and team B says, our data looks a lot like yours. Can you share some of that stuff with me? If you share it and team B says, hey, team A helped us, I'll give team A some bonus points and I'll give team B some bonus points for being efficient. That's what happens in the corporate world. It is not dog eat dog. If you can make other teams efficient, then you're going to be have a very bright career. Raymond, am I telling it the way it is? Oh, we lost Raymond. Uh-oh, is anybody there?
Yep, we're here.
Oh, I think I lost Raymond, but Raymond would agree with me. Okay. So let's see what else we got here. Well, does anybody have any questions about what I'm talking about so far? Eric, anything on the chat window?
Nothing in the chat.
See, this is not good. I've taught this class in long enough that if I hear stunned silence, it means everyone's lost or this is not clicking. What do you think, Eric? Give me a question.
So questions about kind of project topic selection.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's, great guidance around, needing to be able to explain something, usability, explainability and accuracy. There's kind of a three-way balance. Have you had students successfully take on projects like, image classification or object detection or things that kind of, you really have to rely on deep learning as the solution? Or have your most successful projects been ones that, are solvable via a deep learning solution or decision trees, random forests, logistic regression, that kind of thing?
Don't look at it like solving it with a technique. Analytics is a means to an end. Try to think of it as solving a problem. The answer to your question is I've had everything, okay? I've had students do stuff that is amazing, okay? I had a student who, did something with waving their hand and making a TV channel change. It was astounding. I told the guy, don't do this. You'll never get it working. It's going to crash and burn. And no, it turns out I was wrong, but so I've had stuff like that. And I've had people who do some stuff that's relatively simple. It's the analytics is a means to an end. Okay. If you want to try doing something with image classification, that's great. But you're not trying, what you've got to do is you got to say, look, here is the data. Let's say you got some data off of Kaggle or something. I had a team one time that was, classifying plankton, and it was an amazing project. So if you do that, then, of course you're going to have to use some kind of a deep learning neural network and blah, blah, blah. You're going to do that. But big deal. If you can classify plankton, who cares? What I want to know is, now tell me how I'm supposed to make money with that. So it's, in a corporate world, you're not just solving a problem. You've got to take it from beginning to end. This is the problem. We're going to try this. Maybe we'll do some clustering. And while we're at it, maybe we'll do this, this, and this. Try lots of different things. You'll walk down a couple of different paths. Things will crash and burn. Other things will be successful. Your goal here is when things crash and burn, find value in it. And when they're successful, show the boss how to make money with this. A lot of people for selection of the project, a lot of people go out there and get Kaggle data sets. The nice thing about Kaggle is the data is ready to go. Okay. And 2 or more of you can have the same project. So team A and team B can have the same project. I don't care. I might say, hey, team A and team B, if you guys are both using the same data set, you better know what the other team is doing and cooperate. And if one team is going off and crazy and the other one's playing it safe, that's fine. You know, just make sure you understand. You know, you could say team B is like, well, gosh, we tried something crazy and it was a disaster, but we wanted to try the crazy thing because team A was doing a great job and we didn't want 2 safe projects. You know, just all I'm saying is your goal here is not to build a good model, although that's important. It's to solve a problem. Have I totally helped, or have I made this non-understandable, Eric?
No, super helpful.
Okay.
I think, I mean, I can speak from my experience. I did the AI specialization, and so a lot of my focus and electives were using deep learning libraries, and so that's where I feel most comfortable. But you know, want to make sure that we strike that balance and that we get you know, the right balance between accuracy, explainability, and usability. And you know, I think that your point of, you know, forget the technique, worry about the business problem, and worry about being able to, you know, you can explain it, but also your boss can explain it if you give him or her the tools is good guidance.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. And also, if you guys are forming, well, it's too late now. We've got 2 teams formed, but try to get a diverse team. You know, you're going to have people in this class who are really good at doing visualization, and some people are really good at putting a report together, and other people are good project managers. And you know, Eric, you said you're good with deep learning. Try to get a variety of different skills. You know, you get a whole team of analytics people, and I promise you it's going to be a disaster because you'll only have one skill covered. Push yourself. Do not play it safe in this course. I mean, the only time I've ever really worried about a team passing my course was 1 quarter where there was a game of brinkmanship going on, where there were 5 people and 4 of them were doing nothing. I mean, I guarantee you there's going to be 1 or 2 slackers in this class. I got it. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't want to hear about it. Don't call me up and say, Bob's not doing anything. You know what? The boss is going to know about that at some point. You guys are going to live and die as a team. And if Bob's not doing anything, someone's going to have to pick up the slack. But I had 1 quarter where I had 4 people out of a team of 5 who did nothing. And it was like, holy cow, I might have to give my first Fs ever, you know? But one guy just picked up all the slack and pulled him over the finish line. And, you know, but, you know, that's the only time, you know, if you've got garbage and you're handing that in on the last day, that's, you know, that's not the purpose of this class. The purpose of this class is for you to walk over the finish line and be so amazed at what you produced. It's all you. I mean, take a look. This is what I want you to do. As like Raymond was saying, go down here to the bottom. Alumni Hall of Fame, right here. And look at some of the stuff that students have turned out. Pet adoption, they did some analysis of pictures, Eric, so you might want to look at that. You know, what else did we have? Some sports related stuff. You know, these guys were trying to optimize a roster for an NHL hockey team. And what else did we do? But, you know, just take a look at some of this stuff, see what these people did, and try to mimic their approach. You can do pretty much anything you want for a project. I mean, a lot of people, if you can't find anything else, go out to Kaggle and grab something. Even if it's a data set where it's like just who's going to crash their car and what's it going to cost, you grab that. But then when you propose it to me, say, you know, take that and then say, we're going to try to figure out how to make money with this model once we're done. So you got to do more than just build me a model. One thing is wake up if you're falling asleep, because I got something for you here. One of the things I ask you to do in this class is I say executive summary, okay? And it takes the students a while to figure out what I'm looking for. An executive summary is like a 5-page summary of what you're handing in. Your CEO should be able to pick this up as you hand it to them, and they're going to flip through this thing for 10 minutes as they're walking to a board of directors meeting. And then they're going to sit down and talk to a very hostile board of directors. And this board of directors is, there's going to be people in there who want this boss to not succeed. So he's got to look like an expert on your project. So you got to basically put everything in that executive summary to make that boss look smart in 15 minutes or less. And if it's not in the summary,
Hey, Don.
it didn't happen. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Josh here. Thanks
Okay.
for the insights. I've never seen an executive who read 5 pages.
I was going to say that, but it sounded very cynical, so I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, but I get the point here, right? Is there has to be there's depth, but there's also an exercise here. What I'm reading from you, to be able to encapsulate what we're doing in clear language, because that's in essence what we have to be doing in our jobs, right? And be able to get our leadership to sell it upward too, right?
That is exactly it. And the reason why I'm approaching this class in this way is because you ever see that, this has just been past, Christmas here. I'm Christmas past, okay? The reason why we're doing it this way is because I had to learn it the hard way. When I was your age, and heck, even 10 years ago, I was running around going, well, here's my model. It's obvious by inspection that it's great. Figure it out, boss. You throw it on his desk and you walk out with a smug look on your face. And you know what? Nobody uses it. And you're like, gosh, I had all this great work and nobody ever did anything, because I never really learned the importance of selling it. Like you said, selling it up the food chain. And I thought, and it took me a long time to learn that. I'm trying to save you guys 10 years of your life to not do mistakes that I did. Okay. So that's where we're going with this. I mean, I didn't just graduate. They didn't hand me a diploma and I walked in there and knew everything. I still don't know everything, but boy, I sure thought I did when I was, right out of graduate school. So I'm trying to just clue you in on how it is so you don't make mistakes that I made. Here's another mistake you're going to make. I'm hoping you don't, but here it is. Let's see. Where is my discussions? Weekly discussions. I know everybody's groaning. I'm trying to make them fun, except weeks 3, 5, and 7. Okay. Those are real status reports. What's the purpose of that is I want you to sell yourself to the boss. Tell your boss how you guys are a team, you live and die as a team, but you know what? Around week 3, 5, and 7, it's kind of, this is where you are selling yourself and how wonderful you are, because at the end of the year, this is another thing I didn't learn until late in my career. Your status report is a pain in the neck until the end of the year. Your boss is going to go, I don't know who did what. And they're going to pull out all these status reports. And then the guy with the most stuff in his status report is the guy that's going to get the bonus, the raise, and the promotion. So you write one sentence, I solved world hunger. And the next guy is, has this 10-page, bullet points and graphs about how he sorted the paperclip drawer. The guy who sorted the paperclip drawer is going to be the guy who gets the promotion because he has a colored graph in his thing. You better learn to sell yourself, and this is the time to do it. So, this is a thing that I'm trying to clue you in on. Let's see other fun things.
I do actually have another question for you, Don.
Sure, go ahead.
No questions in the chat yet, but we're doing a 10-week course in 9 weeks. So what's compressed? Where are we going to feel the squeeze? Where should we focus?
You felt the squeeze because the way the course has usually worked, the first 2 weeks of the class, everybody's, trying to form a team. And then by week 3, they've got a project. But because I opened up the class shell and I told you guys like last week, start forming your teams now, I've already got 2 teams formed. And as soon as the 3rd team is formed, I may have, in other words, because of this, of the crunch, you guys have started teaming up a lot earlier. So you actually are ahead of schedule. Does that make sense, Eric?
It does.
Okay, so you're not behind schedule yet. And in fact, you won't get behind schedule because at the end of this week, if you don't have a team, I'm going to start pulling names out of a hat. I guarantee you all teams will be formed by this time next week. So you either sign it or I will. So,
Hey Don, I have a question.
okay, Owen, go ahead.
Sure. In one of your videos, you mentioned that the CEO likes to throw in some surprises during the project.
Uh-huh.
Can you explain further on that?
No. Well, okay, I'm gonna because you asked, Owen, and nobody
you.
else listened. Okay, what I did is I've learned something else. I've had bosses, like you've got some critically important, the companies, the fate of the entire multi-billion dollar corporation is hinged on, your project. And then your boss, his boss says, gosh, I want everybody to go and, do an inventory on printer cartridges. And you're like, what the heck? Some stupid ask that has no bearing on your project, but because it's the boss's boss, you got to do it or people are going to get fired. And it always comes at the worst possible time. So I've used calculus to figure out what's the worst possible time that I can give you guys something to do. And I'm going to throw some stupid project at you that, incidentally, I'll tell you what the project is because, let's see. Just a minute. All hands on deck. There it is right there. What I do is I make you write a 3-page white paper on some stupid topic. Not stupid, but it's analytic in nature. And I don't mean stupid. It's pretty cool because I'm going to make you write some paper at a worst possible time. And you're going to have to do something like this. And what I do is I was like, wow, these are really good papers. And so I started offering students bonus points. I said, if you let me use this for future generations, I will give you bonus points. And students are like, heck yeah, I'll take 5 bonus points. So I put them in this little zip file here. So what I would like you to do, or what you should consider doing, is, just a minute, let's see if I have it. You may want to download that thing. So I've got like stuff on all sorts of different topics. Here's a student, I've had 4 or 5 class, students do stuff on Microsoft Azure and what else, chatbots and all sorts of, and the cool thing is download this thing, even if you don't read it, download it and take it with you on the way out the door, because someday you're going to be in a meeting and your boss is going to go, hey, we're looking at Data Robot. Does anybody know anything about Data Robot? And you say, oh, excuse me, I got to get a cup of coffee. And you quickly run to your desk and read about 3 or 4 of these papers, come running back and then say, oh, I know about Data Robot. And then you're going to look like a genius. So I've got this, I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of extra value add in the course. So that's Owen, did that answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Perfect. You guys also might want to read these messages in a bottle here. These are notes from past students to you about being successful in the class or life, whatever. Some of these are pretty good. So take a look at them. So, it's worth looking at these things. And so anyways, I got nothing else going on here. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, this is a new way of approaching this class for me, is to just free associate this and assume that you guys have watched these videos. We're going to find out if this was an effective way of doing this. But
hey, Don, it's Josh again with a question.
Okay, go ahead, Josh.
So I flipped through. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I flipped through the project stuff a few times and watched your video. Doesn't it, forgive me if I missed it, doesn't appear to be much on like operationalizing the data in a real world environment, and the potential cost benefits of that, marshaling the resources required to implement whatever changes are going to be required as a result of the model, that kind of thing.
No. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No. Well, I'll let you respond if I have a follow-up.
Okay, the answer is I don't require that. I've had groups do that, like especially some of the ones that have done stuff with human resources. I think the Disney people did that. I think
Okay.
Disney might have done that.
Okay.
So just because it's not on my project template doesn't mean you can't do it. Okay. I've had students do that. I'm not sure. I think Disney might have done something like that. I know I have had students do stuff like that, and it's great. I love it. But not everybody in this class has that skill set. And in a real world, many times you're going to be giving this your recommendation to the boss, and then the boss will have another team that might have more skills in that area. If you got somebody with those skills, throw it in there, and baby, I'm going to love that.
Okay, good. That's good to know. So we can vertically integrate the kinds of things that may not appear on the actual project requirements, but that we may think could benefit the project downstream, for example. And you would take that into account. That's good. Good to know.
Yep, I tried to make the project over time. I've changed it around a little bit, because if I made it too nebulous, a lot of students who like structure don't know what they're doing. But if I put too much structure, then students who have like more want flexibility feel stifled. So I'm trying to find that balance. But the point is, you can walk this project in a lot of different ways. And I'm like a CEO, and the CEO, if a CEO says, who's going to crash their car? They have no idea how you're going to, do your magic. They're going to say, well, he's just going to tell us, I know there's going to be some math involved. You're going to take this any way you want, and I'm not going to second guess you. I'm trusting that, and a lot of times people will ask me, they'll say, Don, they'll post something in the CEO, and they'll say something like, Don, do you want us to make our, if we do a cell phone app, should it be using an iPhone or an Android? And my answer is always, that's what I'm paying you to tell me. That's my favorite answer in the CEO. I'll occasionally answer a question, but most of the time I'm not going to be bothered with that stuff. And I don't want, I want you to decide, and I'm paying you to tell me. So you take this project where you want it to go. If I think it's going down the wrong path, I'll tell you, but I'm going to try to keep out of it. Okay. So we got anything else going on here, folks, or?
Any advice you can give us for week 1 here, aside from, I've heard form teams, find complementary talent with your teams so that you've got a good group to attack any problem. But I don't know, any other advice for week 1?
The only thing I could say if I was going to do anything is I'd read some of these messages in a bottle, form a team, get a project, and, the other thing is, just hit the ground running, and don't sit there and sweat, or wring your hands worrying about, is this what Don wants or whatever. Just, take the project, pretend the boss gave you some ask, a general ask, and you got to figure out what the boss wants, because the boss doesn't know what he wants. Your job is to figure it out and get moving on this stuff. And don't be afraid of failure. Just attack the problem. And the only other thing I can say is maybe read these messages in a bottle and make sure every person in this, I don't think anybody who's ever, I've had teams where nobody has read, the Alumni Hall of Fame project or the Alumni Project Roulette. I've had teams where nobody has done that. And I've had teams where everybody's done it. And if everybody on this team has done, on your team has done the Alumni Project Roulette, you're going to know what the project is like. I don't think anybody who's done that has ever not gotten an A in this class. And people who don't do that, it takes them halfway through the course before they figure out what's going on. And by then they're behind the 8 ball. Eric, did I help you or did I ramble?
No, it was great. Thank you.
Okay. So that's about it right now. I can't think of anything else. I'll draft a few of you to see if I can ask some questions here. I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to talk to Liz Boma. Liz, talk to me. What's your question for me?
Honestly, I don't have any. I saw all of the videos. I reviewed over the roulette. It was very, very helpful. I did the Divi one. So if anyone, it's extremely comprehensive. So I guess I have one. Is there an expectation to have goals that use all of the different kinds of, modeling techniques that we have?
No, there's
learned in the program?
No, there's no expectation. I'm the CEO. I have no expectations. I suggest that you try a lot of different techniques just because, like I said, there will be some jerk in one of those meetings who's out to get you. That's another thing is like, who was it? Josh was saying that CEOs don't read 5 pages. He's right. And the other thing that you got to learn about the corporate world is there's always that one jerk who wants you to fail. So the more things you try, the more likely you are to say, well, yeah, we tried neural networks. Yeah, we try to support vector machine, whatever. It just gives you a little bit of cover in case somebody attacks you. You don't have to. I have no expectation at all. All I want is, I just wanted you to tell me, here's a problem. Tell me how to make money with it. Does your project make sense and make money? Then it's right.
Okay.
And I really, really, really want everybody to try a cell phone app, but that's not a requirement. Oh, I don't think I've ever not given an A to a team that got a cell phone app working. Just saying. Let's see if we got anybody else here. Matt Winans, talk to me, Matt. What's your question?
I think everything's pretty straightforward. I mean, I guess, is the cell phone app in any way connected to this project, or are you just saying, hey, create a cell phone app that you'd like?
Pretty much it. I'm so eager to have you do one that I will suspend any disbelief. Just shove one together and get one working. You don't.
Okay.
That's it. I'm just trying to, the reason why I did this is one quarter, I had like 3 years ago, I had a team that did it and they said, oh, by the way, Don, they said, go out to the Google App Store. And I'm like, yeah. And they said, now look for this, this, and this. And I downloaded it and it's all of a sudden it's on my cell phone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a cell phone app. And they're like, yeah. And all of a sudden I was like knocked out of my chair. Okay. And so the next quarter, I happened to mention it in passing to the students. And I said, this was everybody in the class did one. And I was like, maybe this isn't so hard. So then at that point, and then of course, everybody does one and they're like, gosh, thank you for twisting our arms because that, I promise you, this is where the future is going is being able to do these cell phone apps. And if you can combine it with analytics, you're going to have a job and you're going to do very, very well. That's why I'm trying to push you down that path.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's see. One last person, and then I'm going to let you guys all go. Let's see. Anika Kawar, talk to me.
Oh, it's Anish, but you're all good.
Okay. I'm sorry, Anish.
Yeah, I wrote down some stuff. Is a web app okay? Like something deployed on like Google Cloud, like the Google Cloud platform, or like Azure or something along those lines? Or do you want something like a strict Android app?
Well, that's what I'm paying you to tell me.
Okay, got it. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the boss doesn't know what Google Cloud is. You just give him something here. I mean, I mean, I want you to take this where if I tell you what I want, then, you know, boss doesn't know this stuff. A CEO does not know that answer.
All right, got it.
Okay, that was I should start giving out the points for the first time I have to say that in the class. This may be the first, the earliest in the class that I've had to say that. Okay. Unless there's any other questions, I'm going to let you guys go.
Not a question, but I did post this on the Canvas, one of the discussion boards as well. If anybody's interested in Tableau, we get a free license as students for a year, but you have to apply for it, and it's pretty quick. So I put a link out there, but if you just Google Tableau student license, it'll come up.
Yeah, you know, I highly recommend you learning Tableau. If I had to say what skill sets you should learn on the way out the door, Python, Tableau, let's see, what other things should you know?
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, yeah, PowerPoint. Yeah,
Power
Excel.
BI.
I would say Power BI is good, but I don't see that as often. I would say Excel, PowerPoint, Python, and Tableau are the ones that you're going to be doing a lot of. R is probably another one. So use this class as a way to fill in your skills. But yeah, Power BI, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a great tool, but I don't see it as often as, let's say, Tableau.
Okay.
But you do, no, but don't listen to me. One of the the last question on the final exam is this: true or false? Don might be wrong. And the answer is true. Don might be wrong. So I'm just telling you what I've learned, but it could be wrong. So, you know, so I've just given away a final exam question. And don't worry about the final exam. It's all just stuff you've learned throughout the program, and it's a quick way to earn some more points. It's multiple choice and it's fun. Okay, guys, I'm done. I mean, I'm going to let you all go. Good luck and have a lot of fun in this class and push yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye, everyone.